Hello everyone. Sorry I've not been making too many videos recently. I kind of noticed that when I tried to change the type of videos I make to longer form or lecture type videos, they did not get as many views as some of the other videos. So I have recently created a new YouTube channel called Brandon Baduk, where I will have different types of videos, and Contraband Go will just have rank up videos. I have also been working with Triton Baduk with this study group, and I plan to get a lot more involved in that. This video is showing a game review from that study group. If you are interested, you can join the study group on Triton Baduk's Patreon for $10 per month, and with that you will get 2 lectures per month, and we also have 2 game days where you show up and everyone kind of pairs up, and then me and Triton will kind of split the reviews. And soon I should be adding my own days where I will have more game reviews and more lectures that I create. And the lectures are live where you can ask as many questions as you want. Right now there are about 40 people in the study group, and for each lecture or game day we normally have 15 or more people show up, so plenty of people to play with. And if there's any odd numbers, then normally Triton or I will play whoever is the odd person. So yeah, so anyone interested in that, I will leave Triton Baduk's Patreon link in the description. And let's go ahead and start the game review. And we'll be going over the Dark Jackal, who is black. And I'm bad with names. Is it like Tiop? Is white. Yep, hey Dark Jackal. Seems most of us are here, or all of us. And we will start from the beginning. Interesting opening. But so far, this is all fine. I would say this is the first mistake. Because you already spent all these moves here, and you don't want this to become a heavy group that gets attacked. So you should want to try to make some kind of extension, either high or low, but just to give your group a base. The left side looks big, but if we kind of, so if you play here and then let's say white attacks, and let's just kind of say you both run. And I would say if you compare this area to the area white's trying to build, white's area is much bigger. And this group is still not 100% alive, so it still can maybe even get attacked, and white can profit even more. So when you play this extension, not only are you giving your group a base and stopping it from being attacked so easily, you're also kind of destroying a lot of that potential that white has over here. And then white played here. I think white should just go all the way, because here black can still kind of make a base here. This is still probably good for white if you kind of just keep putting pressure on it, because here white's area is still getting much bigger, but just not far enough. So I think you can go high here, like 2 spaces, because you want to stop your opponent from getting like a 2-space base. Like if he does this one, you're pretty okay with it because he's very narrow, over-concentrated. He either has to live locally or run away, and then like you can kind of see that white's area gets very big very quickly. We cut it pretty recently. Yeah, it's a learning experience. So like here, there is a chance that black will just pincer here, but then you just have to keep his group separated. So if you just jump out here and then he defends, now you get to attack this one. But if he runs out this one, then you get to try and attack this one. So you have to like work on your fighting a little bit, but the fighting should be good for you. So the 2 should be an overplay, but an overplay that's not punished is normally too good. So you have to work on the fighting and reading. And then you make a base. Okay. So I don't think this one is a terrible move, but it's just a little bit better to put pressure on the weak group and take more points in the center. Yep, so now black is getting that move. So pushing here is still probably going to be good for white, because like this is not a small area. So trying to take it is still pretty big. And here I think black was a little bit greedy. So here I would also think you need to fight here and work on your fighting. Because if you look at the white stones, like there's all these stones here, and then white is strong here. So a fight here, white has lots of help nearby and strong groups. So yeah, playing this one is just a little bit passive. So I think you go with the crosscut here. And then if black kind of defends like this, you can kind of see, again, the right side is getting very big. And if black pushes you this way, then now it feels like black has two weak groups that are kind of cut off. So all white has to do really is try to get out, or at the very least can maybe capture two stones. So again, this should be good for white, but it does involve some reading and having some experience with fighting. Yep, and then this is a big extension, but here again, protecting the right side is still going to be much bigger. This is a little bit better for black because now black can maybe try and take more in the center somehow. But white's area is still not very small, so it should be okay. But when you play this one, I think black can kind of just turn and push and then go back and jump here. And then now white's area is much smaller. Black can maybe even just keep jumping in. But black just defended, and then white jumps in here. I would say this is a good move, except just this push is still better. So you do have a base on both sides. And here's another example of, I think, black doing too much. I think, again, here, because you have all those friendly stones, you can still just push and cut here. And it's kind of the same. If he pushes this way, now there's two stones in danger, so black needs to defend those somehow. And now black again has some weak groups, and then the bottom group down here is also still not 100% alive. So keeping strong groups is good, but if your groups are strong and they give you a weakness, you want to try and punish those if you can. I did look at the turn. Yeah, the turn is just more solid. Because when you turn, there's no cutting points. So then you can be a little bit more aggressive and even go further. But with this one, you always have to worry about this cut. And then this one, a little bit too passive. Again, kind of ignoring that there's a cut here. If we kind of look around the board, if we look at this group is pretty strong. This group is also pretty strong because it can kind of connect over here and it has lots of space to run into the center. And if we look at this group here, it has lots of points in the corner. Everything's really strong and connected. So, but if we look at this group, we can kind of see that black has lots of strong groups over here, a strong group here. So probably drawing too much, having too much fun. But so this top group is going to be your weakest group. So if you're going to play a move like a jumping to the center, like to me this is a defensive move, trying to defend a group. But if you're going to do that, you should be jumping from this group because this is your weakest group. This is also just big because it reduces some points. So for example, even at this point, white can kind of, or black can kind of press this down. And white lives, but now black gets a lot of pretty much solid territory here. And if black wants to, can probably even be a little bit more aggressive with some moves like this. Because if you block this way, then now it's just kind of a floating group with no eyes. That press gets ugly fast for white with the top right corner. Mhm. Yeah, because when your opponent has lots of strong groups around, then your groups become weaker. So like for example, like this one I said is a pretty strong group, and that's because the only thing he really needs to worry about is this corner, but it's a little bit has more space. Like there's two spaces here instead of just the one. This group, but that can be cut off. And then there's no black group on the side here. So this group is considered pretty strong because there's no strong groups around it and it has lots of space. But if you compare it to this top group, it's almost the opposite. As black has taken up most of his space, and white doesn't really have any areas close by that he can run to. And black played here. So again, I would say this is probably wrong direction. Um, yeah, black should be thinking about like pressing down the top side, or maybe even trying to add a stone and make a strong group here, so that this group does become a weak group. But something more like that, I think, would be a little bit better. This one, I'm not quite sure what the goal is. I guess you want to like peep and cut it, but I think it seems a bit difficult. Like one move can either fix it or could even like bump here and run away. And then I don't think there's a good way to really attack it or cut it off. White just defends though, but that's okay. Okay, so I guess you want everything. You want just all of the center here plus this, I'm guessing. So here, if you're going to take something in the center, it's much easier to do it if you're attacking something. So like that other example I showed with the press down is here you're putting pressure on white. So now you pretty much made the same amount of points here that you wanted, but you did it while attacking. So it's much more natural and easier to do. But when you do it kind of forcefully like this, it normally doesn't work out as well, or you don't get enough benefit. So like for example, if you do this and you force this to happen, then you kind of damage your group on the other side. And white could probably even be more aggressive here and maybe even try and pincer or start a counterattack. Could maybe even be a little bit more aggressive like this and connect. And then it's kind of similar. Now there's still weaknesses in your area. So if he pushes here, even if you defend, now white can maybe like push here and jump out, and it's much easier to reduce as well. So you normally don't want to try and like force an area. In the game, it went like this, and this is also good. I think you probably should just back off here and force him to connect. Because in the game, this one, you're kind of helping him fix his shape. You're like, you have a cutting point here, go ahead and fix it. But he can play this Atari first and then fix. And now it's much harder for you to build anything in the center. And these two stones on the side are now much weaker. Okay, so you cut, you try to defend, but now later, if white wants to reduce, like there's some weaknesses here that white can aim at to reduce. The other benefit for white is now this group was very weak, and it's still not like super strong, but because it has this to run to now, it becomes much stronger. So now white could add a move to defend, maybe something like this, but white could also now just tanuki and take points somewhere. Because now the press down, you're not making as many points because there's you've already been kind of reduced with the with these moves here. But white just tries to connect, which that's not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. So white now doesn't have any weak groups, and black got some points in the center, but he had to spend a move to defend, and then white got points on the right side. So I think it could have been better for white, but I think black kind of got away with some stuff. but still gave white a lot of good moves. So here, connecting under is good, but black should be careful about this cut again. Because if black goes down and then white just kind of surrounds, unless black can somehow escape, then I think black's in a lot of trouble. White could even just go here or even just connect. And then there's a lot of weakness here. Probably extend is better. But black now has to like try and get out, and then white's going to get stronger, and then black could also potentially lose some points over here if white gets strong. But being calm and just connecting, also good. Because black eventually has to go back and connect here, which it seems like he didn't. He did this one. This one's okay, but there's just more weaknesses. Like if I was white, I'd probably push here. And then black probably has to defend again. And then white has sente to, I would say this is probably where endgame should start. Because there's no more weak groups. And if white can start endgame first, they have a very big advantage. Like for example, this is sente. This is probably sente. This one's also sente. Can probably attach here and here. And probably this one. And white's areas all grew by a lot, and black's area all got smaller. And all of that was in sente. So whoever starts the endgame first normally has a big advantage. So, and normally you start with the sides and center. Like I think some people might, in this position, consider like blocking the center. But this is gote, and it's not really worth that many points. So if, say you play somewhere else, and black jumps in here, and then white kind of just blocks. It's like black can get quite a bit, but white got that other move somewhere else. So the one move probably gets it back. So he jumps here, here, and then if he does go here, then you're destroying this area even more. So chances are you're going to get the end game, and then after you finish all those sente end games, you're going to get sente to come back and play in the center. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Like this one, the reason this one's just a little bit better is because it's a bit more sente. So he has to defend, and then you can go and play end game. This one's not as forcing, because with this one, if he doesn't defend, then you can kind of like Atari here. And you're kind of reducing the center points here a little bit, and then black has this really weak group that he now needs to run with and try and live with. So this one's not really aiming at that. So if black tanukis, this just doesn't quite work as well anymore because there's just a ladder. And then that gives him sente to reduce this area. And it's kind of the same for black, where there's no more really weak groups. So now black should be the first one to start in-game. So again, black, it's kind of in reverse, where black can just play this one, and then here, maybe this one, and yeah, this one, and then now maybe he can go back and try and reduce the center. But he gets all those extra points for free before he goes to the center moves. But a lot of people, they start with the center moves, and if their opponent just tanukis and starts playing the sente ones, then black loses a lot of points. Yeah, endgame, even though it looks small, you can catch up quite a bit. Like if you just start in game first and your opponent doesn't really have good in game, like you can catch up like 20 points or more. It's very big. And then, but here I'm assuming it's going to be the same thing where I think both see all this open space in the center of the board, and they're like, well, we have to fill those in, and then it kind of just ends up where nothing really happens, and then whoever gets to the end game first gets a big advantage. Yep. So black lost points here though. So here, I think black just needs to defend the cut, and if white tries really hard to keep reducing, then now white can get cut. So if black defends, then white should defend, and then black can keep his points here. Although even here, still the sensei in-game moves are going to be better. With this one, just a little bit too much weakness, and then going for too much with the cut. Because even now, if you defend, like you lost quite a bit here. So here, I think white already made a profit. But when you run here, you're kind of giving yourself a weak group. So if I was white, I would probably just play here, threatening to save it. And then now you made like an extra 10 points in the center. And black does get some points here, but you also killed these stones. So I feel like those are about equal. But then white gets this extra 10 points for almost free. But when you run here, you're giving black a chance to attack, and you're forced to kind of just run. Good call on using the weak intent stones as a threat to reduce. Yeah, so a lot of times, if you don't see a good way to attack or kill something, like it's much easier to just sacrifice one stone. But once you add moves to it, the more you add, the more you kind of need to save it, because each move you're giving them more and more points. But if it's just one stone, then it's not that big of a deal if you give that away. Yeah, so here you end up giving it away, but just a little bit too late. So the other way, white had a lot more points here, and black had a lot less points here. And then black can still reduce this area a bit. So just a little bit too late, but I think you had the right idea. Yep, definitely had the right idea, just a little bit too late. And then you defended this side, but I think if you're going to play locally, probably block this side is better, because you're actually defending your points. When you block this way, now he can Atari and maybe even peep or something like that to reduce the points further. And now black gets the big in-game move. And yep, black needs to watch his cutting points a bit more. Just need to extend here, and then everything's fine. So now this is a really big shift, because not only does white get like a massive, I don't know, at least 10 points here. Black lost 10 points in the same area, and then the corner is also very damaged. Okay, good end game. Probably Sente. Very good. So white, I think, is doing a little bit better with the end game here. But still kind of needless pushing. So like this push here maybe is 1 or 2 points. But if you just start in game, it's kind of similar where you have this sensei move. And then you have this one. And then you also can jump in here and destroy the corner. All of these moves on the sides and corners are going to be much bigger than this single push. Because I don't think you can even really kill the black stones. But he's probably going to respawn. But even still, I would go after the corners and sides first. Same here. There is weakness here, but you're only reducing 1 or 2 points, and it could be Gote. So the Sente moves, you just get those for free. And then you can go back and do the attach later. And here, I think you just kind of gave away some free points. Here, you gotta cut here. And then if he captures, then you capture 2 stones. So black shouldn't be playing this. He should be blocking here. And then you get to play this move, and then you can play here. So it is a pretty big reduction. Yeah, here it just doesn't work. Even here you can still get away with this one, but you just you give away an extra stone that you didn't need to. And so here you played in a good area, but you got Gote. So if you just play this one, then you have Sente. So you do the reduction, and then you can go and play another big move. And then you have Sente again, and you can play another big move. So this one is technically worth more points, but because it's Gote, now black can go back and play all the big Sente moves. Maybe even this one. And the last one is the corner. So that extra benefit you get for getting 1 or 2 extra points, black's going to be able to make up more than that with the other Sente moves. Same here. This is technically worth more points, but when black connects, it's Gote, and then white can go back to a big Sente move. But if you just go down, you still get most of the points and still get some reduction, but you get to keep Sente. And then that's a big one. But here you can kind of see you lost Sente again. So if you do this one first, which I think is the last big in-game move, and then you jump in here, then you get the left side plus you take the corner. So you want to try and play the Sente ones first, and then after you play the Sente ones, then you go and take the big Gote moves. But black's still playing a little bit small areas. Again, big in-game moves are still left. And then white ends up getting a little bit better. But same reasoning as before. Here you reduce a little bit more, but it should be it could be Sente instead. Because black doesn't have to respond, so if black has a bigger move, he can Tanuki. So playing like this is worth a little bit less points, but because you keep Sente, you get more. The large monkey jump Sente. The large monkey jump is Sente, but you have to be threatening to reduce. So when you play it here, you're reducing the corner, but there's no other follow-up moves because the corner is already pretty much destroyed. So in this situation, it's Gote. But if it was on the side, then it's worth a little bit more. Because if they don't respond to it, then you kind of just keep jumping into their area and you can keep reducing even more. It also kind of depends on the outside. So depending on the shape of your opponent's stones, it can be Gote or Sente. So it's pretty complicated. But you just have to think when you play the monkey jump, when they stop you, can they stop you in Sente or Gote? But it's something you just kind of have to do and learn from experience. Or maybe Triton and I can get together for an in-game lecture on the monkey jump, because we can probably talk about that for an hour or more. Yeah. So either monkey jump is only sensei if it has a further point. Yeah, if it can jump in further and keep reducing, then it's sensei. Yeah. It's an engineering question. It depends. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, if you don't have a follow-up move that destroys more points or reduces more, then you can just treat it as gote. But like if they jump into your area, it can be pretty big. So like for example here, if white were to just tanuki here, and then black gets to play here, it's pretty much sensei because if white tanukis again, black can jump again, and then you still can't stop it. So yeah, it just kind of just keeps destroying more and more as you go. But once you get to 7, it stops being sensei. So because it's already all destroyed. Does that make sense? Got it? Okay. But like I said, the monkey jump's pretty complicated. So like I said, I could probably make a lecture on it, and the lecture would probably take 2 hours and probably wouldn't be able to cover everything. I think the rest is just pretty small stuff. I think we covered most of the important things with the end game and stuff. Yeah. So to kind of summarize, I think Dark Jackal needs to just be a lot more careful with cutting points, and white needs to make sure you have strong groups first. But if you have strong groups, then you can try and take advantage of the cutting points. Because here you played very solid, but because you didn't take advantage of the cutting points, black ends up getting a lot more. And then playing some smaller areas for white. Same thing here for black, leaving too many cutting points. And then white defending the smaller areas a little bit again. And then this goes back to black just leaving too many weaknesses. And I think that was really about it. Just white didn't take advantage of some cutting points and played just a little bit too slow in the opening. And then black just left behind too many weaknesses because he kept leaving behind cutting points or similar things. Like even here, just lots of cutting points. And then the next biggest thing was just in game, I think. But I think most of the game followed those two things: black leaving too many weak groups, and then if white was able to take advantage of it, then he got further ahead. But if he wasn't, then black got too much. Okay. Yep. Any other questions on this one? Nope. Okay.